After drawing portraits for over 25 years, I've learned there's a 4-step process behind improving any portrait. I call it the DART system. Diagnose what isn't working, anchor what is working, rebuild the weak areas, and tighten everything up. This is the same process that has helped my students transform their work, win awards, and land commissions. If you want me to review your work, just fill out the form in the description. So let's break this portrait down and see exactly what's going on. Now there are 3 high impact problems holding this likeness back. Once those are fixed, it's going to read like a completely different person. First, let me show you what is working so we know what to build on. The biggest wins are the values and contrast. The darks are darks, the lights are lights, and the portrait has a real nice balance that makes it really nice to look at. Here's why that's so important. Readability is everything. If the tonal pattern reads clearly, the face feels believable, even when the proportions are slightly off. Structure-wise, the eye placement is pretty spot on, and the forehead is also really strong. The width and the length of it is basically perfect. We can use this to our advantage because it gives us a reliable reference point for the rest of the portrait when we make those changes. Okay, so now we know what's working. Let me show you the first high impact change that we're going to make, because once this shifts, the portrait is going to change immediately. Now watch this measurement. I'm using the forehead as the anchor because it's one of the most reliable shapes in this drawing. The nose is sitting too high, and as you can see, it's falling short and making the face look squeezed. So when that whole section drops, the face instantly gets more breathing room. And it's not just more accurate, it's actually giving the portrait more character because he has a distinctive nose. So when it sits in the right place, it starts to feel a lot more like him. Now here's something important to remember. When a structural change like this happens, it will look worse before it looks better. For a moment, it looks messy because the old nose is still visible and the new one is sitting right next to it. It's basically a double read until the old marks are blended out. Now at this stage, it's not about perfection, it's about direction. We just want to ask one question. Does it look better than before? If the answer is yes, you're moving in the right direction. Over polishing anything at this stage is going to cause more issues because we need the surrounding areas to start working together first, so the portrait is working in harmony. Okay, so now let me show you the next high impact problem, and this one is an easy win. Fix this and the likeness jumps out straight away. Right now, even though it has good values, the likeness is still being held back by this whole section. Now in truth, it doesn't need much, but watch what happens when we pull this shadow down and darken the background so it acts as one unit. When it connects, the portrait immediately changes, and I've barely done anything. Look how much of the likeness starts to pierce through. Here's why shadows are so important. Shadows create form. They give the portrait depth, and the likeness jumps straight forward. This is why I always hold values as the most important aspect in drawing. There's literally no point fiddling with the eyes or the other features if the portrait isn't reading. No amount of detail will fix it at this stage. Okay, so now the heavy lifting is done. Let's move on to the last high impact change, which is actually a very low effort move and connects the whole portrait together. Right now, the portrait is feeling lopsided. It's heavy on this side, which is making this side feel like it's 2 different portraits. Watch how the portrait locks into place when a soft mid-tone connects everything together. It helps the portrait read more naturally, and it stops the lighter side from feeling disconnected from the shadow work that we just did. I also bring a touch of the background value out as well, so there's more readability and more separation. With every change that you make, you need to follow the lighting pattern, because when you do, this is where portraits start feeling real. I still haven't touched any wrinkles or textures. The portrait is won by the big tonal shapes and groupings. Alright, so now we move into the last part of the DART system, tighten. Right now the portrait reads, but the focal point is falling behind. The eyes and the center of the portrait feel a bit too soft and compressed compared to how strong the rest of the portrait is. But it doesn't need much. Watch how the portrait comes to life when the focal point gets more contrast, deeper eyes, clearer highlights, and a cleaner nose placement. Because the big changes happened in the surrounding areas first, the portrait is now organized enough that the small changes in the center have a huge payoff. When likeness is off, there's a knee-jerk reaction to start moving features around, but a lot of the time it's much simpler than that. It's clarity, tonal grouping, and depth. Look at the before and after. I've made minimal changes, but the changes that were made are the ones with the most impact. But here's the issue. Spotting these tonal shapes and shadow groups in a reference isn't easy. So to make this much simpler, I've made a free portrait tool that simplifies any portrait into clear tonal shapes and shows what actually matters the most. So your drawing becomes easier, faster, and more accurate. It's totally free and you can download it in the description. Enjoy.